Well, just in the past hour, Florida's governor spoke about final preparations ahead of the hurricane's arrival. Ron DeSantis gave advice for anyone who is staying behind despite numerous warnings to evacuate.
At this point, it's too dangerous to evacuate safely, so you have to shelter in place and just hunker down. Stay put until the storm is passed. If you are in Sarasota, Manatee, some of those areas where the eye of the storm is going, it may be where things calm down for a minute. Just understand that means you're in the eye. It's going to go back and get really nasty very soon. So don't go outdoors until it is confirmed safe. You can listen to your local emergency management officials about that one.
Okay, for more on the final preparations currently underway, we're joined now live by CNN's Lee Waldman. She's in Tampa tonight. So, Lee, we spoke to you 24 hours ago. It was dry where you are. Obviously, that is not the case. Let's talk about how conditions have changed in the past 24 hours and what you are bracing for tonight.
Well, right now there's an extreme wind warning for the entire city of Tampa. That's because of the hurricane force winds that are blowing through this community. We're also already starting to get some of the rainfall totals. It's been raining all day today, but within the last 2 hours, the rain has really ramped up. 6 inches of rain has already fallen, with another 5 to 8 inches of rain expected over the next 6 hours. That's a lot of rainfall from this very, very powerful storm, and nowhere for this rain to go. We're already seeing some rain gathering on the road behind me, some flooding happening here. There's a flood warning across the entire city of Florida, or the entire city of Tampa rather, and we're getting some really, really strong wind gusts as well. So it's a dire situation for people in the path of this storm.
Okay, Lee, we want you to stay safe, but tell me a little bit more about what it is like where you are right now. We can see, obviously, the winds are incredible.
The winds are incredible, and we've started to see transformers blowing in this area. So on top of the power going out in some of the area around here, across the state of Florida, 250,000 customers are without power. On top of a hurricane coming through, Milton is bringing with it prolific tornadoes as well. 18 tornadoes already spurred as a result of this hurricane. It is record-breaking alongside an already powerful hurricane. It is dangerous for the people in the path of this storm, not only along the coast, but across the entire state. That is why people were told to evacuate. That is why now they're being told to hunker down.
And we just heard from Ron DeSantis, who said, exactly what you're saying. Hunker down if you have not left already. Have you seen or heard from anyone today who has decided to stay behind, who has not heeded that warning to leave when they could?
Well, at this point, it was too late for people to leave. There was 4 bridges that go over Tampa Bay. Those were closed by this afternoon because of this wind that comes through. It was not safe to drive over them. Now, in Hillsborough County, where Tampa is, there were shelters that were opened up. When I talked to city officials around 2 o'clock this afternoon, there was 9,000 people who were inside of those shelters. Some shelters were at capacities. Others were nearing capacity. We know that some people chose to ride out this storm inside of their homes. Other people, we see some people actually on the other side of this camera who chose to come to a hotel that has a backup generator. So some people did choose to stay so they could be here rather than evacuating out of Tampa.
Wow. Your live shot is just incredible right now. We hope that you and your team stay safe as you continue to cover this storm. That is CNN's Lee Waldman reporting for us tonight. Thanks, Lee. Okay, let's bring in CBC News science and climate specialist Darius Mandavi now in our Vancouver newsroom to talk about the latest here. So Darius, what can you tell us about what will be in store in the next few hours?
Well, we do have the storm continuing to track closer and closer to Florida. Landfall at this point is imminent, and we're seeing a wide variety of threats coming from the storm. Some of them we've been seeing since this morning. Some are really just beginning as the strongest winds make their way closer and closer to landfall close to Sarasota, Florida, which is just south of Tampa Bay. Now, take a look at this graphic. I want to show you the threat that's coming to the region in a few different ways. The first one is tornadoes. If you see here, you can see a wide area, especially on the east coast of Florida, experiencing the risk of very damaging tornadoes. We've seen that already, as we heard from the governor last hour, at least a dozen and a half tornado touchdowns in the last, since this morning, really. If we take a look, you can see also the wind threat that's present, and it's highest just where the the hurricane is expected to make landfall, but we are experiencing a very high, even extreme wind threat as that storm makes its way across the entire peninsula. And you can see that here, actually. This shows you the hurricane force winds as that storm continues to move over Florida. In purple there, that is hurricane force winds. In yellow, though, also very damaging tropical storm force winds that are expected to affect virtually the entire state overnight tonight and into tomorrow. So really, I know many people evacuated inland. Even there, the threat from winds is very high. The other major threat that we're facing is flooding rain, in addition to storm surge, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the flooding rain threat is very, very widespread. In purple there, that's the most extreme threat that we're facing. And again, a very wide area experiencing that, especially just north of the storm itself. You can see that already. You can see sort of the eye of the storm quite well here compared to when we look at the satellite view, because it's where you're not seeing that rain. And that's why the governor emphasized last hour, as well as other disaster preparedness officials, the fact that if you are in the area where the eye might be passing over, especially around Sarasota, if things clear up, if things seem to calm down, you should not go outside, because that likely means that you are in the eye of the storm, and any second those really strong hurricane force winds could pick up, and they can be deadly. So over the next few days, as we see in excess of 500 millimeters of rainfall in some of these areas, we will likely hear a lot more about those impacts. And again, I just want to emphasize once more the storm surge, which is likely going to be the most deadly part of this storm as it continues to track in. We are likely to see some really strong impacts, especially in the area just south of where the storm makes landfall. We're expecting to see the water reach levels up to the second story of buildings. So Travis, we're looking at very wide-ranging and diverse and potentially devastating threats.
Well, we have this from the National Hurricane Center as well, that the hurricane is close to making landfall across the coast of west central Florida, and we will continue to track that. Okay, let us turn now to my next guest, who has been tirelessly assisting his neighbors and family in preparing for Hurricane Milton. Milo Miller has been actively sharing updates on TikTok, keeping his followers informed as the storm approaches. He joins us this evening from Sarasota. Milo, thanks for being here. Let's talk about the storm, which is expected to make landfall very soon in Sarasota. We just spoke with someone with emergency management, the chief there in Sarasota, and she says that, you know, basically for the next several hours, first responders aren't going out. How are you feeling right now, hunkering down?
Right now, it's getting pretty scary. We are losing a lot of shingles off of our roof. There's a lot of noise in the house. It feels structurally sound. I'm not necessarily afraid the roof is going to blow off, but there's a lot going on the outside.
Okay, why did you decide to stay, and how prepared are you to be there for the next couple of days, or at least the next few hours?
So we decided to stay because the house was built for these hurricanes. I went through another hurricane, Hurricane Ian, and we kind of survived that one. We did lose some shingles. So that was one of the reasons that I decided to stay. I just thought that it would be somewhat safe just because of the house that I have.
Okay. Are a lot of your neighbors doing the same thing, or did they leave?
A lot of my neighbors actually are staying as well.
Really?
I think I don't know that anybody really evacuated from this area.
What happens if you lose power, or have you lost power? Because I see that you're sitting in the dark right now.
Yes, I have lost power. I do have a generator hooked to the house, so I do have power in some of the house, but in some of the house I don't. Right now, we're limited on lights. Just to get our lights on, we don't necessarily have AC or anything like that. My generator won't run those, but we can have our refrigerators running, keep our food cold, and just kind of make things a little more comfortable.
Now, you know, this particular part of Florida doesn't get these kind of massive storms as frequently as other parts. Have you ever experienced a storm like this before?
No, I've never experienced a storm like this one itself. This area has not really received it. Like Ian, we did get some of that, but it was more like a Category 1 or like a tropical storm.
Right.
But this area hasn't really got hit in a long, long time, in the 24 years that I've been in Florida.
Where in the house are you right now, and how protected are you? I'm guessing that you're away from the windows?
Right now, I am in my master bedroom. I mean, in the kind of in the corner wall. We do feel protected. I feel very protected inside. I don't necessarily feel like things are going to collapse on me at the moment, even though I'm hearing those shingles being ripped off the roof, and it is kind of frightening.
Absolutely, it is. I hear that there's others in the background. How many people are with you in the house? Who is with you right now?
So right now, I think there's 10 people here.
There's 10 people in the
12.
house. Okay.
Yes.
And kids as well?
So yes, we have 3 kids in the house. Actually, no, take that back. 5 kids,
Okay.
2 older kids and 4 younger kids.
And how concerned are you about their safety, especially, if first responders can't get to the home and your community in the next couple of hours?
So yes, I've done some preparations. I've got some stuff like I made sure that I have like a Zaw. So if something does fall, a wall does collapse, and somebody does get trapped, that I have the ability to cut down that wall to release them from that. So I do have some things that I have prepared if something goes bad.
Yeah. What are you telling the kids about kind of what to do when this hits? I know that, basically there's a lot happening right now, and you can hear it as shingles rip off the roof of the house. But, the major impact of the storm is still coming your way. What have you told the kids about what they need to do when that comes?
So when that comes, make sure all doors are closed. Don't open an exterior door. Don't let any air inside the house, because once air gets in the house, that is when it can actually use that vacuum to lift the roof off the house.
What's the reaction been like on TikTok? Because I know that you are keeping in contact with your followers there and giving folks updates in terms of your safety and how your family is doing. What's the reaction been like? Are you getting some criticism for staying or no?
Yes, I'm getting a lot of criticism for staying.
Yeah.
I have had people tell me that I'm going to meet God early and that I'm going to regret this decision. I take this very highly. I wouldn't stay if I would have been in an evacuation zone,
Right.
but I'm not. I'm outside of that. If I would have had that, I would have definitely left. Or if my house didn't have like hurricane windows and wasn't well built, I would definitely have been evacuated.
We've heard this a lot over the past several hours, that a lot of people have chosen to stay and hunker down. What would you say to those who are criticizing, saying you shouldn't be doing this, you're putting your family's safety in jeopardy? What do you say to them?
Well, I would say that you got to know the circumstance. You can't just like say something that you don't really know. You don't really know my surroundings. You don't know where I'm at. You don't know everything. So they're just saying things from past experience because of the surge. Now, all the islands, if I was on the island or downtown Sarasota, yes, my house would be completely underwater. So they're saying like your roof is going to be underwater, you're going to be underwater. Where I'm at located, yes, I do have flooding, but I don't think it's going to make its way into the house.
In the weeks to come, I guess, tell me what your priorities are going to be in terms of the recovery effort, because it could take weeks based on the forecast right now and the potential destruction.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have to, once the storm is over, evaluate the damage. I know I'm going to have to be replacing a lot of roofing. I am capable of doing that myself. So it's just getting the product. Products are going to be very hard to get because everybody's going to need those products.
Do you have insurance?
I do have homeowners insurance as well. Sometimes it just depends if it's worth it or not.
Well, listen, Milo, we appreciate you coming on, and we want you to stay safe, and your family as well, and that entire community as the storm approaches you there in Sarasota. That is Milo Miller, a resident of Sarasota, who is hunkering down in his home with 10 people in that house right now.